Hello, Global Theater. My name is Gerry Fialka. Today is November 18, 2024. I want to thank Rob Grant and his amazing podcast. I'm probably wrong about everything. Also want to thank Bill Dougal for inviting me to today's guest, Stephen Friedland.
All right.
Where in the heck you calling in from, Stephen?
Bill Dougal, I'm glad you mentioned that name. Very, very wonderful artist with whom I have worked prior to this moment. And I'm very, very enthused, always enthused to see him on the internet, as we call this, and very excited that I chose to collaborate with him on a production not too long ago, as the span of time goes, and certainly am looking for the right home for this wonderful work of fiction, I would say, on the social comment side. I intend it to be a handbook which will instruct people on how to be a collectivist, IST, how to be a collectivist, and so as not to show too much of oneself. And I believe it's a wonderful handbook. It's something that one would want to have everyone at, for instance, Fialka see as you're walking into their restaurant.
Look forward to that, Stephen. Where are you calling in from?
I live in New York City.
First question is, what's the best thing for a human being?
The best thing would be to know just how great they are, to really to understand the immensity of their being, that it is fundamentally, and I point out eternally, coupled with the energy that is inflowing.
Beautiful.
The beauty is shared. We are part of the beauty. But as they say in the culture, thank you. And so that I don't want to be too much of an anything, but I'm just responding. So we say that.
Beautiful. What's your favorite form of information? How it comes into you?
Well, this has been it, actually, as far as technology goes. But as far as being in the street goes, I think that is a wonderful primary, may I say, primary level at which one wants to gain the inspiration, rather than this. Rather than even if the screen were 100 billion yards or miles long or light years long, if the screen, but that is it. We're constantly amazed how we can rid our viewpoint of the screen so that there would not be. Imagine if you've been to Times Square lately. I haven't, or just the street when I landed in Tokyo in '61 for some beautiful reason. I couldn't believe the amount of signs. But the screen had not yet, of the advertising screen had not come in yet.
Yeah.
I haven't been there in many years. I can just imagine now what these totally. Have you been to Tokyo lately?
No. But I know what you're saying. It's these new mediums coming. But you said your favorite form of information. I basically translate that as direct experience.
As our moment together.
Yeah. And that's what we're on. Telephone. That's what we're on right now.
That's beautiful.
Across the world live.
Are we in real time with everyone on your network?
well, we don't have any subscribers, but anyone could potentially be watching us in real time. As soon
Oh,
as
is
it
that right?
ends, it's on YouTube forever and they can watch it whenever they want. But the next question is, why do you think humans collect or gather information?
I wanted to know the previous question. Excuse me. Then, do you edit anything? It's okay with
No,
me if you
no
do.
edits. No edits.
But you,
So
but you then.
the second question in the whole interview was, what's your favorite form of information? And you kind of insinuated direct experience. The second question is,
Oh, good.
why do you think humans collect or gather information?
The same way, I would say that a chipmunk gathers nuts.
Right.
I
So
don't
do
think
you,
there's any difference. I would say that as we gather information as a baby, imagine, and we look up and we see something that we have never seen before,
yeah,
colored of on that lucky sunny afternoon pale blue, and it's light, and you're being your mom or dad or both are carrying you home from the birth. So you pick your pick your liquor.
do you think this need or want to collect information is more innate or more invented?
Well, you aren't you equating information with what is being done?
Information is a word, and we got a collective hunch what we kind of mean by it. But like I said at the beginning, you put the questions into the context you want. So if you want to say, well, I'm going to kind of say this is what I believe information is in the context of this question. So it's basically, you said it, you think the chipmunk is innately gathering nuts, so the human innately gathers information. Do thoughts create emotions?
Well, you see, we're seeking a sort of a formula here between the workings of the same mind,
Yeah.
the same brain. So that I think to understand that is pretty good, but how much, I don't know how much it's the self, then your concept of the self determines how anything is going to be, how anything is going to be, you know. Um,
What do thoughts create emotions?
well, I would say the drive, one's will. You're talking about essentially emotion flows out from the will.
From the will. See, that's what I'm after, Stephen. Me and you versus the wording on the questions. So you can
Well,
shift.
I don't know if that was just the word is what? Semantic.
No, that's a yeah, no, I love it. We're playing with the words, and I like when people reword my question or substitute different word. Here's a fill in the blank, Stephen. I
Well,
don't
you're
know.
talking about the will. That's the point.
Yeah, that's
Because you
exactly.
brought up the word emotion.
Yeah,
And I thought that I went back.
yeah,
Because what I do, which I think people ought to do, is to seek the lowest common multiple of a thought.
yeah.
And in that lowest common multiple resides the energy of the thought.
Yes, I like
And,
that.
and so that's the second time you said that during this show.
No,
I'm,
I mean, I
I'm
appreciate what
very grateful that I'm saying things you like because,
I'm inspired by your words. But fill in the blank. I don't know what I think until I.
do something.
That's good. Do something. Now, McLuhan says, I don't know what I think until I say it. Joan Didion says, I don't know what I think until I write it. Can humans think without language?
It seems that they are bonded, thought and language, in
They're
some
bonded.
way,
Yeah.
because thought has in it the element of sound. Because a mother can move her lips,
Yes.
but if baby were deaf, baby wouldn't hear.
Yeah.
So sound, waves, and now we're talking waves. So thought is that. So your question is, would thought occur if there were no language? I think thought is connected with the wavelengths. Our minds are
Yeah.
connected with the wavelengths that are coming in, if you allow.
Yeah. A
Wavelengths that
lot of
allow.
yeah.
Some people
Yeah.
don't allow it.
That's it.
The,
Allow it.
wa- the
You're open.
wavelengths of energy to come in
Yeah.
because their minds are not attuned to the existence, to what it is.
I like what you're saying because it evokes Frank Zappa used the word wavicle. So he blended wave and particle to wavicle. So some of these early questions are is it more this or more that?
Well,
And
he
of
ought to
course,
sell it to. He ought to sell it to a famous physicist.
oh, he got it from a physicist.
He got it. Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, he got it from someone else. But I'm just saying,
Well,
yeah, that's who I learned the word wavicle from. And anyways, it's sort of like some of these early questions, Stephen, are is it more this or more that? Well, of course it's both and it depends, but I like how this is going because Chomsky says language is not just words. It's a culture, a tradition, a unification of community, a whole history that creates what a community is. What do you do when language doesn't work? When language breaks down, what do you do?
what people do is they then pantomime.
Yeah, that's good. Invent pantomime.
I had a very good friend who recently passed away, bless his soul, Michael Grando, an amazing teacher of pantomime at Rhode Island University.
Yeah.
Are we together?
Yeah. No, I like this word pantomime. It means a lot to me.
Well, and then I'm talking about Michael Grando,
Yeah.
the teacher of mime, who was a student of Marcel Marceau.
Yeah.
And in other words, the connection between then, if one of language you didn't have a language, well, you would pantomime.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like charades. Your observations.
Yeah.
Your observations of humans in general. Are we more feeling beings or more thinking beings?
Feeling or thinking?
Yeah.
Well, if you mean that in for instance, say percentage, because then in thinking you say feeling or thinking, right?
Yeah. Are we more feeling beings or are we more thinking?
The mind and the body. You're talking about a relationship.
Head and heart. Yeah.
Well, there was a very interesting movie with that basic theme at the very end. The graphics had in them, it was a silent film, Metropolis.
Oh, yeah.
Which had the mind and the heart, I believe, or the thought and the heart were in graphics on the screen when the two met, the worker and the executive.
Yeah.
They met and they shook hands. And that was from the 1925 to 29 period, I believe.
Yeah.
And so here we are a while past that. But things are speeding up so quickly that the amazement with time is itself affected. You know, if things keep happening so quickly, well, then we won't be so amazed with time. We'll be in it, I suppose.
Well, it's
Is,
funny you
is
brought up
time
time.
a actual thing? Is time actual? I mean, when you look at a watch,
Yeah.
or when we count off the seconds, we become absolutely hypnotized by seconds and minutes and hours and days and months and years. People are into that of time, but then you ask yourself, what is time?
What is time? Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
both James Joyce and Frank Zappa said
That was the work whistle.
yeah, I like that. All times are happening now. This is what they thought. They thought it's called all at onceness. And how do you escape time? But to go from the 20s metropolis, let's go to the 50s. And Alan Turing asked these two questions. Stephen, I asked you the first one. Is thinking a function of the soul?
Is thinking a function of the soul? Well, it's like what people it's what people individually believe. And if I, as an individual, then had an idea, you would have a line that goes from your momentary existence into the at the moment. You will have a line at this moment into what the mind is gathering on the incoming energy waves. Incoming energy waves, the alignment with the universe, the alignment with the sun, especially recognizing the power of the sun, and that the thought waves, the sound waves. You asked a question about sound in relation to language, right? Then,
Well,
didn't
I
you?
asked the question, can humans think without language? And you went into sound brilliantly. That was good. But let's just go into the second Turing question. Can machine
Brilliantly, quote unquote,
yeah.
says Gerry Fialka.
The second Turing question is, can machines think?
I could answer that best by singing a song I've written called Machines.
Go ahead.
But I'll tell you, I have written a song regarding machines. If you ask me, can they talk?
Can machines think? Yeah, go ahead.
Think. Oh, think. That's right. There's always a caesura between machine thought and human thought. And the humans can break it, but it cannot break the humans. That's the way it is, and that's the way it should continue.
Yeah.
However, I wouldn't be able to conjure whether or not some intelligence in the universe has not been able to link human thought with robotic control.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the secret. Maybe that's the big secret. I wouldn't know. But for now, I think that human thought is cool. I have the ability to think thoughts and seize the moment. I have the ability to seize the moment, but that wouldn't mean any less prior to the show or any less after the show.
Yeah.
This is a slice of me, and I'm doing my best to respond to you asking me these. L'chaim.
This one is about consciousness. Does the brain more detect consciousness or create it? Like, is consciousness there bubbling away and we're more so detecting it or more so creating it?
I'm sure if you read a book on yoga, you won't need me to say anything about these questions. I'm sure if get the books by Ramamurti, my or books by my yoga teacher that I had, or my spiritual master. I would imagine when I first got into yoga, Ramamurti Mishra, and he was a endocrinologist, also trained doctor, as well as having the yoga elements of yoga in his mind. And he set up an ashram in New York too, called Ananda Ashram. I don't know if you're familiar. You may know people who go to it. Who knows? I pop in every once in a while. It's beautiful. And so another, but in the line of yoga, it's amazing how, or the Buddhist line, the Christian line, you find that happening. The Jewish line, you'll find the same appeal to the shedding of light, the enlightenment of humanity, actually. Now, that topic, I would say, is something which crosses my mind lots. And I feel, for my own sake, to be able to combine my ego and my talent at this moment and couple it with the enlightenment of humanity would be a great task to do. And don't think that this is the first time I would ever bring up that subject, because I have been into that, it seems now, for generations, because I've learned how human beings have come to, and you're very interested in one's mind, use the mind. So if I'm in this position now and I'm in the media, I'm considered a public person. And if I do offer opinions, why not seize the moment? You see, and bring light out, because as I said, as I began this tirade, the more I am surveyed, the sooner humanity is enlightened.
Beautiful. What's faster, speed of light or speed of thought?
Well, that's amazing that we are in the speed of light at the moment. Light is, we're part of light. I guess one's mind, you'd have to speak to a physicist too about that question, because the speed of light is in this room, is in your studio. We're into that. But it's too much for the human mind to accept. If you are into physics, I suppose, become a doctor in physics. Have you ever seen those billboards of equations? Have you seen those billboards of equations?
Oh, yeah.
With the huge radical signs and little numerals. Do you understand that?
I do not understand it, but my hunch is
that's language, see?
That is language, but my hunch is that the speed of thought is faster than the speed of light, is because we thought up the speed of light. But here's the next one, and this is from a poet, Stephen. Audre Lorde, she said, you can't dismantle the master's house using the master's tools. Yvonne Rayner, her colleague, says, oh, you can if you expose the tools. What new tool do you suggest?
To expose the master's plan?
Well, again, that's a great question. You're answering a question with a question. You win. That's what this series is all about. But basically, I open up some of the questions with cute quotes. You don't have to apply them if you don't want to. In the word new, I'm basically asking, what tool do you most gravitate towards? If you want to add the adjective new tool, that's fine. And if you want to apply it to dismantling the master's house, that's fine. So again, you put in the context you want.
I believe in the golden rule at this juncture of life. Give unto others as they give unto you.
I like that.
As you would want them to do to you, do unto others. I believe in that now. I see that. And if I can guide myself on that line as I pass through in my dealings with those with whom company I share, such as yourself, then I will have advanced. I will keep advancing, and so advancement is good. If
Make
I
the
were
world
JD,
better.
if I were on JD Vance's ad committee at the moment, I would definitely the next meeting. I would definitely have ad top line, next line Vance.
Golden rule. I love that. Now, the next question similar.
For
What
JD Vance.
advance? Yeah, advance. That's beyond being punny.
That is McLuhan-esque.
That's McLuhan-esque. That's called wordplay. That's called wordsmithery. But
But it works too.
it works really good. Now, the follow-up is, what new toy do you suggest? The tool is the golden rule. I agree. What new toy do you suggest?
You know, if you can use your toys in the service of your body now at this juncture, it makes more sense than just pushing around a toy on the floor as a baby or toddler would do without completely understanding. So toys, you see, are things. Toys are things which help people become masters in their own right. You hold things, you roll them on the floor, you see little butterflies as you're in your crib, little butterflies back and forth. And then you get little toys to push around, right? And you have the letters, and then there's all this starts to become, then your mind, you get it, says, wait a minute. And you've got to adjust to all this income all at once. You were born. Imagine being born. It's quite something else.
It's
Into
beautiful.
this.
So, what do you worry about when
As traumatic as dying, I'm sure.
Yeah. What do you worry about when you go to bed at night?
What do I worry about? Well, when one goes to bed, sleep is desired. Therefore, command of the breath and the feeling of the breath, the breathing in and out, is of natural, I didn't invent it, natural necessity in going to sleep. Then again, there are those egos who have their own specific, unusual grasp of time and are living in their own time zone. You see what I'm saying? Isn't it, as Sadhguru would say? This man says, isn't it? So assured is he of himself. And if you've ever seen the videos of Sadhguru, you would be amazed, quite amazed. Speaks, I believe the man is still living, speaks before loads of people all the time. People revere Sadhguru. And, they say that a tooth of the Buddha is still growing after 6,000 years. I don't know if I believe that one. But if you see the films of this guy, just the clips, day by day clips of Sadhguru, you'd start to wonder, be in a sense of wonderment, because there are people who have a hold of what this phase is, and who can translate that understanding into language and meaning that we hold dear. Not BS.
Yeah, because McLuhan learned from a poet that artists are the antenna of the race. They're broadcasting and detecting the hidden psychic effects of our inventions So we might learn how to cope with what we don't like about our inventions. So, Stephen, I asked you the question Marshall probed his whole career. Why do we ignore the hidden psychic effects of our inventions, even though the artists are broadcasting them to us?
Why do we ignore our psychic capabilities?
Well, that's part of it. Yeah, why do we ignore what the artists are really saying about the world? That's
Well,
really the question. I mean, not everybody ignores them all the time, but why do people in general ignore the artist their real message?
why do artists ignore the messages coming into them from society, or why does
The
most people ignore artists?
That's it. The second, why do the audiences tend to ignore the hidden? Yeah, believe me. Why do the artist's message is ignored? Not Yeah. The artists don't always know their message. They're just creating their art. So they're creating
Well, how many millions of people a year see the Sistine Chapel?
Yeah.
I've never been there myself, and I have never been to Rome, as they say. If that's not a saying, then that ought to be a saying. I have never been to Rome. Indicating one's, lack, I
Yeah.
suppose, of common, authority today. Um, I don't know if I'd ever go. I'd like to go to. I'd like to go to Portugal right now. I have a record with this fellow Steve Andrews, who lives in Portugal. I wrote the lyrics. I wrote the words, and it's called "Can't We Can Sing Together." We can sing together, and we can sing together.
We
We can carry a tune to
Beautiful.
everybody in the world, to the eagles and the loons, is the first quatrain.
I like that.
And I
So
wrote the words, and Steve Andrews put it to music, and he plays acoustic guitar. And Geraldo Quevedo in Portugal, engineer and has a studio, produced it, and added a children's chorus.
oh, I love that. When
And the
children
children's chorus is singing right along with them. And you can all get into it simply by going to either or Steve Andrews. We can sing together,
Beautiful.
because it's on all the platforms, as they say. It's one of my current professional things that I'm into. So it's like, this is, you know what this is? This is typical showbiz publicity.
Totally. We want you to, we can sing together, Steve Andrews. And they can go to Brute Force. Your various websites are listed below, so they can go there. Stephen, do artists have moral obligation?
Well, it wouldn't matter. There are rules and regulations. So if you want to get along in this here creation, I just thought I'd mention these rules and regulations. This is a chorus of a great song I've written called Rules and Regulations. And you ask me, are there morals? Well, we're all taught what to do and what not to do. Do you want to just stand there bare naked in the city square? Or do you want to partake in the machine? You want to make your own widget, bring it to the market? because we're in a capital free market situation now, and we should be as grateful as we can be. This is amazing what a free market can do at the moment and into the world. Just take, it's going to be a whole change of rules and regulations for sure. I'm happy about it. I'm very happy about it. I shook Donald Trump's hand in 2015 when he came down off of that celebrated escalator. You remember? With his beautiful wife, Melania. And the first person, I testify, and anyone who can get the film, the video from any news network, you will see me, the first person he comes over to and shakes hands on that fateful night when he announced his candidacy for the president of the United States. You know, and we shook hands, and I'm very good because I was working for 2015. Nothing, nothing big. Just I was on the phones telling people, working with people. Had a script, it was great. And so I was doing my part in 2015 as a political character. But it doesn't change me as a person, see. I am who I am. And anybody who is partaking in the nation, therefore, who has voted either or, here or there, this or that, it's just such a tuggle, just such a twisted turn and tuggle every 4 or 6 years when the guy who is this guy who is attacked, can't we all just learn to live together? The guy who was hit with
Rodney King, yeah. Are
in,
you more
in
afraid
LA.
Yeah, in LA. Are you more afraid of old ideas or more afraid of new ideas?
Well, fear is a misunderstanding, or it must be a preparation and combat. It's either or. Fear, it's either true or not true. I remember stepping off of a railroad track once in my life onto the boards of a station, and I'll tell you, 1, 2, 3, passed me by. I don't know if it's happened to any of you people in there in the listening to me, but by the grace of God, and I'm in New York City now, and there are people here you can't imagine walking by with backs that are ovular almost, and you look down on the street and you see animals that have been squashed flat on the street. Yes, you do. Rats or pigeons. And then you see all beautiful people, right, passing by, and you see all people that are homeless. You see a lot of them. Just a half a block away from me are 200 refugees in a building. And you see so many refugees in New York now. Of the 250,000 that have arrived here, that are delivering, I would say 10% must be delivering food for restaurants. Pardon me. That's right. And so in relation to whatever question that was, it's an amazing situation.
Got it.
It's I see a world in which there are people scurrying about. If you see the world and you see these billions of people scurrying about, and there is a direction to consciousness. So there is a connection between people's consciousnesses, and everybody knows the truth. There are people who are preparing for the exit off of the planet. In my mind, it's called a space mission. But I've been, since Flash Gordon, do you remember Flash Gordon, Gerry Fialka?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. And the great episodes and people from different worlds. Yeah.
Stephen, can you forget to die?
Well, as one grows older, of course, you're more in tune with the thoughts of dying. Yet I heard Sadhguru the other night, and it was not the first time that I heard, because I have read it in different texts, as he has also, by saying, that there is no birth. Someone asked about birth. He said there is no birth. There is no death. You were here before you were here. You were here before you were here. You were here while you were here. And you will be here after you're gone. So the more one is in tune with that, then the thoughts of death, your question referred to that.
Yeah. I like that.
Will be mellowed out. And he added, Sadhguru added that and I congratulate you, as you are such a valuable person.
Thank you.
And an interesting person to know. And I'm always interested in having things that I've done enter into different spheres of consciousness, so that, well,
that's like Paul Krasner said, I only believe in reincarnation in one of my past lives. Can you conjure up your earliest memory ever, or one of them?
Wait a minute. It's the work whistle. It reminds me of the great documentary I saw just a few weeks. Remember the question now? A few days ago, for the second time within a few weeks, Harlan County, USA.
Oh, what an amazing doc. That's Barbara Koppel's amazing film.
How is Barbara Koppel connected with Ted Koppel? Is there any connection?
No.
His mother?
They're not connected as far as I know, but
okay.
She's had an amazing career, and I've seen her speak, and she's one of my heroes. She's one of the great documentarians of American movie making. But can you conjure up your earliest memory ever, or one of them?
Well, the word conjure, of course, is a part of the mystery of magic. Yeah, so I can think of what I know, but I would not conjure anything towards anybody. Just expression of myself as I feel it.
Yeah.
So, see, that's my landline. I didn't.
Unplug it.
I'll put this away.
Yeah, thank you. But memory's a fun thing. Sometimes people have a memory in that age 2 to age 4 category, that when you're a young baby,
Oh, wait a minute.
sometimes you have a memory from, say, age 2 to 4. Can you describe any early memory you had, like 2 to 4-ish?
Hal's. Hal's. Do they carry Hal's where you live in Venice, California?
I don't know that brand. Yeah.
HAL''S. Hal's in New York. Seltzer water flavored with lime. Yeah, and if you people want a real good thing to drink when you come back on the next hot day, or it's too cold.
I toast you. Let's toast.
L'chaim.
So, any early memory, can you just describe briefly, like, age 2 to 4, 5, 6?
Yes, my hair when I was long was blonde. My hair when I was young, that is, was blonde and curly,
Yeah.
And I would bounce around as a toddler, and I was a chubby little kid, I was well fed. My parents loved me. And they were living the life of Riley. And my father was a very rich and brilliant lawyer. And he was in on the things that were going on at labor unions. He was a labor lawyer. And I could bring up the name Tony Pro because he was in legal counsel. He was a lawyer for Tony Pro on, I would say, different issues. I don't know what issues, but that was in the mid to 30s to the mid to the 40s into the 50s. And my dad was an assemblyman in the New Jersey Assembly. And my brother became a senator in New Jersey. And he was a very trusty guy. He was an artist. He was a beautiful thinker. And he would bring up laws in the New Jersey Senate about putting Ellis Island on a swivel, turning so it could be turned around. He brought that up in the legislature. David Friedland. And
Wow.
He lived, God bless his soul, to 80. Oh, well, he would have 87. Yeah, 87, 88 is when then he would have had to pass. That's right.
And Stephen, how old are you right now?
I'm 84.
Wow. And what's one thing you mainly got from your dad? Say briefly, a characteristic or some sort of influence you got from your dad.
I'm very thankful to my father for the strength of mind, strength of body, hold it together, be a man. I like my father. Very good. It was much different with him and my father and my mother, excuse me.
Well, that's what I was.
Was
you have ESP because I was just going to ask, how do you summarize what you mainly got from your mom? If you got strength,
extrasensory perception, of course.
Oh wow!
Has been aided by this very form that we're in.
Yeah.
this very form that we're in brings now people in different locations, brings in thought of different people, conversations on transmitted though. You know, I thought it would be nice to just to answer any question you have about. So my mother was an artist, what I'm saying, and answered that question. And so she was very much 180 degrees different than my dad, who was very, you know, young man from Russia. Imagine, she was born over here. And he got out in 1910, right before the revolution. And, well, they were killing the king. Imagine that.
Wow.
Now, that has somewhat been mimicked here recently in Butler, Pennsylvania. Who knows that it's any different? A bunch of people going after another person,
Yeah.
different costumes, different thoughts. But it's interesting, people going after people. And some just, oh, I saw this movie last night. I couldn't believe it, of the warfare that went on in the Indian battles,
Yeah.
in India between tribe and tribe, or look at Japan with tribe and tribe. I don't want that to happen in this country.
Well, Stephen, I think we're more hardwired to be cooperative than we are to be warmongers and
If we
fight.
can stay wired, sure, it would be great.
Yeah. But you're the same question outside your immediate family. You told me how your mom and dad affected you. One person early on who had an impact on you, and what was that impact?
Tighter and tighter, the screws on the bottle. Save me, save me.
So, what first attracted you to write songs? Who?
That's right. No, you asked me a different question.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
like someone who had an impact on you.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You're hearing music, you're going, "Oh, I can do that." Where's that tipping point? I can do that. Write songs, write lyrics.
Excuse me if I keep doing this, but I have this cervical thing, and it's not well, when you get older, this is one of the main conversations that you get into with people, not that this is any different about the body. uh People who influence me, is that you are asking
Yeah,
me?
just one person outside your immediate family who had an impact on you,
Well,
and
that's right, sure. Of
what was
course,
the impact
of
early on?
course, of course. The man's name is Walter K. Abel.
And
Dr.
what did you
Dr. Abel.
what did you mainly get from Walter? What's one trait or influence?
Well, Dr. Abel was a teacher at Stevens Hoboken Academy in Hoboken. And we moved. We had a lovely house in Jersey City. And he was a teacher in Latin at the school. And he became a mentor, one of my mentors, keeping me taught during the summer, so I could matriculate. Although I did attend some summer schools, I remember. But Dr. Abel, he was a jolly guy. He was rather rotund, He had I believe, a mustache. Latin teacher. Really good, and he had a strange stroke in the Atlantic. I remember because he came down and stayed at our apartment, or came and stayed a long time during a day. It was good. It's good to keep the good things in life in mind, because if you'd like me to write your next question, the the horror of life. We have all been through the horror of life. I would say we have all been through the horrors of life.
I would say there's joys and horrors, but I'm curious about songwriting. Um, Stanley Kubrick says great art is when you can clearly not see the intention of the maker. Screenwriting teacher told me great art is when you can clearly see the intention of the maker. When you're writing a Steven song, what role does intention play in your creative process?
I have just written today about songwriting.
Beautiful.
Oh, I've written this today. What is today? 11/18, right?
Yes.
Tremors are okay if your fingers are on the clitoris. Okay. Everywhere you write, every time you write, great. Every time you write is a new song. There's a new lesson in songwriting. Every time you write a new song, there's a new lesson in songwriting. With a new song I'm on right now called Let's Make Every Day a Christmas. This is a new song I'm writing. Let's make every day a Christmas. Phrasing the words to blend with in a bar, or phrasing the words to make it smoothly into the next note. Blending of words, blending of words to change melody, or the blending of words to ride on a pre-existing melody. Be the shortening of the words, or the elongating of the syllables, or the addition of notes, or the extension of the holes of a note. All of those can work at the same time. You can, and when you're at an instrument, of course, then you can play with all different things. I find that I'm up at the number 200. Do you wear reading glasses?
I do indeed.
What number are you at?
Oh, I don't know. I maybe 150 or
They're on the
something.
side of each.
No. I'm over 200. Yeah.
You're over 200.
Yeah. I
Wow.
think
See,
200 or 225.
I went from 175 to 200 simply
Yeah.
because all of the 175s were gone at CVS.
Yeah. See,
It's
well,
ridiculous.
we have 99-cent store, but they all closed down. We used to get them for $1. So when they were closing, I bought a whole bunch of them. But it's pretty amazing because CVS, what do they charge you? $10 for reading glasses or more?
3 for $22.
Oh, so that's $7 each. Yeah. But when you're writing a song, Stephen, how much are you thinking of your listener?
Now, what I have just said, and I will answer that more directly, but what I have just said is very important to a songwriter.
Yeah.
Who gets into who can get into a song by vocalizing a song, by sitting by holding an instrument, by playing an instrument, can just sit down and sing a song. But then you have the mind to retain the memory, or you have a small cassette or a digital recorder to record it, or you can put it on paper. That's important, because if you do have a mind into which ideas just leave them, although if you want to remember something, then that's another choice. I think that the will to let things go out of the mind is it can be influenced by the speed of the light that we're talking about, and the speed of the thoughts. You get thoughts and you put them down, you put them on a recorder, they come and go with me. And so it's good to have a tape recorder. I've always held a handheld Panasonic cassette, and I like tape cassettes, and I can listen to them on the train, the subway. So life goes on in New York City. And how is it very congested in Venice?
Well, it depends. You ride your bike down to the beach and it's really beautiful. And there's some people on some days and crowded on other days. So not really a lot of congestion, but the world is congested in LA basically. But in regards to songwriting, do you think of like when you were writing for the Tokens or Circle, did you think of your listener when you were writing your song?
Ask me that again.
How much do you think of your potential audience, your listener, when you're writing your song?
How much do I think of my potential audience when I'm writing a song? Is that right?
Yep.
How much do I think of you? How much do I think of you? Oh, see, I'm sorry. Your question is, what's the relation between the thought and the song, right?
Good.
And you've just laid out a sentence to me, and I have done what I have always done throughout my entertaining career. And I don't know if I think I will do it at Monmouth University. On the 2nd of December at Monmouth University, I want you all to come who hear this, that live in the metro area, to come to Monmouth University, famous Monmouth University, that does all of the polls, you hear it all the time on the major media, that I graduated from in 1963, 61 years ago. I graduated, and I want you all to come on the 2nd of December. How much do I think of the people who listen to me? How much do I think of you or me? Me. I can sit at the piano, you see, and just, well, I'm thinking about you, baby, yes I am. I'm thinking about you, baby, yes I am. I'm coming home to you. Or, one I love especially you. I'm going to do this at Monmouth University. I want you all to come, please. D, right? I'll do this just the chorus. This is the chorus. This is great. As I've always intended to make me the darling of the left, and here's my song for that. Is that right? If I can do it, it's just now. Pamela, aluminum can redeem her. Aluminum can redeem her. First the metal lay deep down below in the ground, below in the ground. Then we mined it and shaped it into a can. Then we filled it with 1,000,000 liquids. We drank it down and we threw it away. Now it's in your hands. In your hands, Pamela. Aluminum can redeem her. You take it to the store and redeem it for a nickel a can. 400 cans gives you $20. Or you're working for the money, really hustling for the 20. And with $20 you go to town, buy a Swiss cheese sandwich with lettuce and mayonnaise on that bread that's brown. Once I had a conversation with you. I'm sorry, okay, it's like. Once I had a. Right, that's on that. Once I had a conversation with you. Right, that's it. You said you had a dream. You had a dream about living far out in the countryside, in a pretty little cottage by a stream. When you were Pamela. I'm sorry, it's so choppy. Aluminum can redeem her. On the front line of ecology, you're helping everybody. Yet it's homeless you be, so homeless you be. You be. It just ends melodically, right? It's just on a melody. I just messed up the last part of it. Thank you so much. I love that. That song I love. I'm going to do that at Monmouth University. It's everybody's mind, you know? Throwing away an aluminum can in the river. It's seen by a woman who used to collect aluminum cans in the city. This is a great song. And this is a project I'm working on. And now, you see, this is this is a publication. I've really never done this. This is the first on the Gerry Fialka show.
Oh, that was beautiful, Stephen. I love that song. Now, what's the history? When did you write it about? How long ago?
Thank you. I'm so happy you like that song. I think that's from the 70s.
And how many songs have you written in your life for 50 years? Or how many years have you written songs and about how many?
The thinking tank. I've never counted them. I have written a list of titles. I really never counted it, but I would say probably at least 500, between that and 1,000, pushing 600 at the moment. I have never counted it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the classic question is at the Brill building, what comes first, the melody or the lyrics? And they went, the phone call.
This is
For
very
you,
good.
yeah, tell us your process. How do you integrate the lyrics and the melody? Do they come hand in hand, one first? Any thoughts on your process there?
The thought. The thought. Playing the melody and the thought. Now, if those two, the thought, if those two bars were played with a giant chorus, of course, that would be very impressive. And a giant symphony, that would be impressive. But that's showbiz. If I could sell that to the, who knows, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, that would be great. If I could sell that to, some of the chorus at Lincoln Center, the Lincoln Center chorus, I would do that. But then again, I don't know. I think it's if you have a memory, if you're working on something, if you've been hurt very much, if some people have been hurt a lot, if some people are so happy about something, and they've been able to have piano lessons, right? If you've been able to have piano lessons, that's great. To learn to write music, right? Remember that. That's really great. If you can learn to write and read music then, and so then you're into others who have written down songs, well, you're communicating no less than anybody, any two young, say any 20-year-old. I heard actually on the train the other day, it was very mysterious. I didn't dare interrupt to inquire about it, but I verified. And as God is my witness, that's, I don't care how many times it's been used before, but that's a great title. As God is my witness. I probably, for anything, if someone has if someone has a orthodox view of spirit, that would be an appealing title. It could be put into any subject matter. But should there be morality?
Well, that was a question we handled earlier, but this is Copeland. Aaron Copeland says the four elements are melody, harmony, rhythm, and tone color. Now, you've talked about melody a lot. How do you regard harmony, rhythm, and tone color? Are they important elements? Do you focus more on melody? How do you integrate those four major elements? Melody, harmony, rhythm, and tone color.
Well, sometimes the rhythm of a melody will come with the melody. Or sometimes the rhythm of the melody will come to the melody, the rhythm of the melody. It could be different.
Yeah.
Rhythm, harmony, melody, and
Tone color. What
tone
the
color.
heck?
And the tone color could be right at the conception of it.
Yeah.
Right at the conception. I guess it is right in there. Rhythm, melody, harmony, tone color. Well, I think melody is number one in that. It has to be in that in the order of importance. Melody, harmony, and rhythm all come below that.
Where'd you get
No,
that love of melody? Did you grow up with Gershwin or Berlin, Irving Berlin, or Great American Songbook, or doo-wop on the streets? Where'd you get that love of melody?
yeah, my now that was a primary wave in my mind when I was a young person and listening to doo-wop and also country. Country, I'm sorry. Country rock. I don't know if that's a good example of it, to tell you the truth.
But you covered the waterfront, Stephen. I mean, you've written a lot of genres in a way,
Right,
but
right.
there's another question I have for you. The
Yes, because
three
I heard classical music as a young person, and then I heard doo-wop in the high school, and so then I got to writing poetry first, and then expanding that into essays on different uh,
right,
areas, subjects, and then putting together the words and the music, as you
right.
have said, as you just have said.
My friend says the three T's of music are taste, technique, and theory. So, technique, you've learned how to play the piano. Theory, you know the structure. How does one acquire taste?
Taste?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, uh, you want to transmit the light. So the acquisition of taste, how does one acquire taste? The acquisition of taste is by seeking to spread the light
yeah.
to those who listen to you, because your words and your music uh, are but the bowl, the the light is the clay. The words are merely the bowl. The light is the clay. The substance and the form are uh, something that I work with to get the idea into the melody. That's what your question was surrounded, didn't it?
Well, that was good because it leads into being a performer, not just a songwriter. You perform your music. Ruth Draper said it, the key is to bring the audience up onto the stage and into the scene with you. It is they who give you much more than you give them in the way of imagination and creative power. That sounds good, but how do you do that? How do you bring the audience up onto the stage? Like when you have your show in December, how do you bring the audience up onto the stage with you? Metaphorically, how do you engage the audience in the live listening experience?
Well, you well, you know what they say. I'm in the room prior to the first word that I say to anybody. I'm on the same wavelength before I was there. I connect as soon as I step on stage. It depends what you want to start with as an entertainer. You could be the most morose person in the world, of course, or you can be the most gleeful idiot, yet with total composure, knowing that you have an amazingly beautiful moment to communicate ideas and to be seen in the center of attention. So obviously, as a child, it's in a way sealed in my soul, in a way, you might say, to have that influence. But, it's a great responsibility to have any influence. So, as I said before, and I continue to say, once again, the more I am surveyed, the sooner humanity becomes enlightened. That's right. That's great. That is great, right? If you believe it, right? Yeah, if you believe it.
Stephen, this is Leonard Cohen. The only way you can sell a concert is if you put yourself at risk. And if you don't do that, people know. What role does risk play in your creative process?
People know that you're not being completely open with them.
That's what he's implying
That's
with
what
this
you're
quote.
saying.
That's what he's implying with this quote. I mean, I just basically set up the question with this quote, but I'm just saying in your creative process, what role does risk taking play?
What role does what?
Taking risk.
Oh, right. That's big. That's very big. It's very good because nobody in the audience is taking a risk, right? And they've come to see that. Anyway, if you were to fail, it would be all right. Most of the time, no one knows. Like if you mess up on a word in a song, no one knew that anyway.
Yeah.
Got to keep going on. Go on with the show.
That's
And
Thelonious Monk said there are no wrong notes.
okay, I believe him. I believe
But
him.
there are wrong notes. You cover how good you cover them up.
Well, yeah. How much you can get back into
Yeah.
the stream, if I may modify what you've just said.
Of course. And this is Viola Spolin who invented comedy improv. If the audience cannot see your struggle to achieve something, they cannot root for you to achieve it. What role does struggle play in your creative process?
Well, a show is a social occasion in that the actors on the stage and the audience, the people comprising the audience, all are in the same situation. We must not give the entertainer nor that's your what is that little piece there? Oh no. Okay, it doesn't matter. We must not give the audience I kind of lost my train of thought with that, but that's all right.
Well, we're talking about struggle, but let's go into courage. What what does courage mean to you now?
It's very good. Getting older, I developed fear of swimming. Imagine that. But of being in the water. But let me tell you that I grew up as a youth unbelievably adapted to the Atlantic, learning to swim in it, learning to scuba, learning to snorkel.
Yeah.
Just knowing the waters intimately, you might say. Being frightened at sometimes, being heroic at the others. I was a lifeguard. I saved people from the ocean. Swimming, I absolutely had not been involved in swimming, and I developed fear. So the question about fear is, you got to use it or lose it.
That's it. Use it or lose it. Amazing. If you were walking down the street today and you met yourself as a 12-year-old, what would you say to your 12-year-old self?
My 12-year-old self.
Yeah, you meet yourself as a 12-year-old. You're in today's present age, 84. You meet yourself as a 12-year-old. What would you say to your 12-year-old self?
Just beware of anybody who wants to do any funny things with you. Beware.
Yeah.
And go home. Go home to your mother and father quickly. You're not legally bound to follow anybody who says, follow me, except your
Yeah.
mother and father, except your mother and father. So be careful as you go into society as a young 12-year-old, and just watch out. That's what I would say in answer to your question.
Beautiful. And Moshe Feldenkrais works with healing and movement. He says it's literally possible to identify a weakness and incorporate it to become a strength rather than we're normally taught to overcome a weakness. Tell me a weakness you turned into a strength.
Well, Gerry Fialka, that's very good. That's very, very interesting. It's very good and very interesting because, at least for the last 3 months, I've been going to the New York Sports Club, right? L'chaim. And have exercised on bicycle, on different machines for the different parts of the body, for the arms, shoulders, back, chest, lower back, trunk, thighs, calves, all these machines, not forgetting the feet, of course. And then from time to time gone to a machine, a solitary, non-moving parts machine that allows you to follow directions on how to stretch the various parts of the body. How to stretch. Very important. Feels good too. You want to feel good now that we have the true leader in the office. You want to feel good now that we have the true leader. Wait a minute. Oops.
Stephen, how do you find peace of mind?
How does that go? How does that go? True leader, yes indeed. We need a true leader. Vote for God today, the true leader. You will see when the true leader.
I asked for 90 minutes. It's already time up. Let's do about 3 more questions if you could.
Sure.
What's a question that remains unresolved for you?
Well, mundane things. Got a few deals going. Keep on plodding along. See what happens to you. Everybody's caught in the same situation. It's like the grass that grows. You're in the same field, you might say. That's right. So go ahead.
How do you find peace of mind?
Well, one must abide with the mind. There's no sense in running from the mind. So you might as well try to understand it as much as possible. And the more you understand your mind, the sooner you can find peace. What a beautiful, unbelievable moment being here right now is. Instead of thinking of putting your mind in a past, which is memory, or thinking about the future and generating certain fears, perhaps, just to be here now. These are not my words.
I agree with you. That's Ram Dass. Be here now. In fact, Wyndham Lewis nailed it. He said, artists live in the present and write a detailed history of the future. Be here now. Beautiful, Stephen. How has writing and playing music shaped your behavior?
Well, I'd be happier if I got booked more often, of course. Money helps. Yeah, got to keep having money. The more money you have, I think, in this economy, the less money worries you have. I think it's necessary to remain a capitalist in a free market situation and to be an entertainer. And I would say President Trump, at your next big party at Margot, at your ranch down there, get me down there. I will just entertain the heck out of your audience. I'll tell you that, President Trump. That's a promise. And I work on it over a 40-year experience. Thank you.
Stephen, what gives you the most optimism?
Just staying alive, really. Staying alive, keeping healthy, keeping strong. You want to keep healthy, you want to keep strong. You want to avoid impure thought. Impure thought can lead to, of course, any drug. But then again, the mind is like a monkey and it jumps all around. So if you can have yourself self mind control rather than governmental mind control. Now we have great hordes of people whose minds have been controlled by governments. Right now in the world exist great armies.
There's a line. There's a line that goes, pull the wool over your own eyes. But Stephen, the first question I asked was, what is the best thing for a human being? Wilhelm Reich said the best thing for a human being is another human being. And the last question, what gives you the most optimism, is what they asked Groucho Marx at the end of his life. And he said, other people. So it's sure been fun spending this time with another person, especially because it was you, Stephen. Thank you so much.
Gerry Fialka, it's been a pleasure and an honor to be on your show. Just let me know how you put it out.
I'll send you the link very soon. And even though I'm going to hit the end broadcast button now, I hope this never ends and we can keep talking and sharing. Do one more toast.
L'chaim, I will proudly, of course, publicize this footage.
How's that?
You got it. I will proudly put this footage out all over as far as I can. And I keep doing it. I'm very happy to have been with you.
Thanks, Stephen.
Have a good evening now. Bye.
You too. Bye.